Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed Chapter 1 and have a better understanding of interdisciplinary studies and what disciplines are and the value and the importance of having a good understanding of interdisciplinarity. Interdisciplinarity, hard word, huh? So in Chapter 2, we're going to be focusing briefly on history and why we need to understand history. And I think it's pretty easy. If we don't have a firm understanding of the history, then we don't have a firm understanding of who we are, how we came to be. I'm sure you've heard the famous saying, what's past is prologue. So there are influences through our history, our collective history and our individual history that influence who we are today and where we're going into tomorrow. And so we want to have a good understanding of those things. 4 primary things that we need to look at when looking at history, and one of those is, again, that the past shapes our identity and the core values that we've developed. It also helps us to understand the roots and detect changes and discern trends. So by understanding those trends can help us to predict what the future may bring. It helps us to look at past events and to look at those and how they became constructs or important to the world that we live in today. And it helps us with studying the present and making it and understanding it in context. So when we look at something, we can go, well, how did we get here? Why are these things this way? How were they built and how were they influencing us today? How did it come to be that we are blank, whatever that is? So we look at things and we look at how they change and how they're influenced. It's kind of fun and interesting if you look at things like music and how music changed from the 20s to the 30s to the 40s to the 50s to the 60s. And what were some of those influences that influenced music? If you go back in and listen to songs from those eras, what's in that music? What are they saying? What are the words? What are they reflecting? And not just music, it's other things. Architecture. You go through different cities and you can see different architecture. Why is that architecture that way? Is it arts that were involved? Is it the resources and the material that was involved? Were we building different things at different times? You can go into different communities and find old bomb shelters. You can find different artistic eras. What about fashion? Fashion changed. Hem legs go up, they go down, makeup changes, we got big hair, we got little hair, we've got short haircuts, we got long haircuts. What's happening in our society that's influencing those things? And understanding how they influence and how the changes happen help us to understand the future and where we're moving as well as where we came to be. Just think about your own history. How have you changed? Are you the same as you were 20 years ago? Are you different? What has made you different? And then we look at the universe and the society. How is that changing and how is it different than it was? And that's a lot of stuff. A lot of really important stuff in there. So interdisciplinary studies allow us to look at all of these things and what all those influences are so we can have a really good understanding of where we are today. It helps us to embrace change. It allows us to be more familiar with the different perspectives and the different influences. It allows us to be more diversified and more flexible in our understanding, and it's very relevant to today. So those are really important things. If we take a more disciplined approach, that's very important too. I'm not trying to disregard disciplines. They have a great value, but sometimes they're a little bit tunnel visioned. I only see this part. I don't see the other parts. My job is this thing, and this thing is all I do. And so the interdisciplinary studies allows us to open up and say there is more than this thing that creates this person, that creates this history, that creates this environment. So if we look with tunnel vision, to some degree, it limits our creativity, it limits our angles, it limits what we can really see about the situation. So being interdisciplined allows us to look with those lenses and also to look with some additional lenses to see what else, what other pieces are involved in this. I need to really understand this thing I'm studying. I'm studying immigration, I'm studying education, I'm studying global warming, I'm studying domestic violence, I'm studying animal studies. Whatever I am studying, I want to see everything about it so I can fully understand how we have different diseases, how diseases change, how diseases progress, how we eliminate certain diseases, poverty. The world goes on and on and on. So start thinking. Start thinking now. What are you going to want to study in this class? I'm looking forward to reading your papers. Happy studies.